The cats came soon after. "Hello, my dear friend. That's how a letter is supposed to start, right? I've missed you since you left our home. You may not have seen it, but Mom cried a lot after you were gone, pulling at fabric, filling the house with sounds I didn't know she could make. Dad started working extra hours so he wouldn't have to be around anyone, so none of us would have to see him come apart. After you left, the hunger started. I worked our land for both of us, hoping the harvest would carry us through to spring. But the soil might as well have been salted. The crops didn't come up. Not enough to sell, not enough to keep us from lying awake thinking about food. Dad and I started going to the wealthier farms to shovel snow for a few dollars. But we were competing with half the county by then. Everyone's land had given out. We hunted as much as we could, set traps for small game. Every now and then, something turned up. Not long after that, the fish started going wrong. You remember how fish are supposed to behave? Thrashing, smacking their tails, gasping with their mouths and working their gills. Now, they floated up through the ice holes on their own, offered themselves. The ones covered in gray patches we threw back. The others we packed in salt. We stopped drawing water from the river for anything except what we had to boil. We melted snow instead. Mom took in sewing. She altered clothes, cut up her own old things, and remade them into something new for someone else. In those winter months, it's easier to count the days she rested than the days she worked. You know the big pit at the edge of town, the one they use for waste. Dead animals started appearing in it. Crows, sparrows, small things at first. We looked the other way when street dogs and cats began turning up, the ones I used to feed on the sly, even though Mom would get after me for it. Then, the livestock started dying. The neighbors figured out what was coming and slaughtered everything fast. Chickens, pigs, cattle. The cows were the hardest. They were practically family. The vets had no answers. We had nothing to lose, at least. We had no animals left to lose. The first time we ate real meat in months was after Mom finished altering a neighbor's daughter's coat. By then, people were already leaving. Those who could afford to go went. The ones who stayed grew suspicious of everything. Cold, hungry, and now that thin thread of hope people were holding onto started fraying. The men stopped showing up for work. They started drinking. We tried to keep living like things were normal. Or not normal exactly. We just tried. Dad worked, Mom sewed, I studied. But then the school started emptying out. Teachers went on sick leave and didn't come back. The hallways that used to shake with noise went quiet almost overnight. In a week, attendance dropped by half. You probably already see where this is going. When it became rare to pass someone on the street who could manage a smile, I took a stack of assignments home and stopped going in. I shoveled snow in the mornings for food or money, and studied in the evenings. That was about when people started dying. The handmade coffins began appearing outside neighbors' doors. The path to the cemetery turned black with wet sand, no matter how many times it snowed. The streets emptied. Some houses had their windows and doors boarded up with pine planks. No one had lived inside for months, and no one was coming. Not falling apart every day was its own kind of work. Before long, there was almost no one left to work for. One morning, while I was clearing snow at a house on the next street, an old woman came out and said to me, "This place is cursed. Soon, there won't be anyone left to bury us." I didn't think much of it at the time, but a week later, people stopped coming outside entirely. When the school door stopped opening, I just started reading whatever we had at home. Mom would sit with me sometimes, but she had too much else to carry. It got a little easier when we started foraging in the forest. Rowan berries, hawthorn, sometimes juniper. The juniper smelled like frost. They had no taste though, like erasers. The first thing that really got to me was the birds. Ragged things, missing wings. They didn't fly anymore, just shuffled on their thin legs and fell, jabbing their beaks at the frozen ground. Then the cats came, and the dogs started barking again. Their one-eyed faces, matted fur, ribs pushing through rotting skin. Those will stay with me for a long time. I didn't believe it. You wouldn't have believed me either. I kept not believing, even when the cattle and chickens came back into the yards. The cows walked, leaving trails of soured milk mixed with blood, leaking from udders that couldn't hold anything anymore. The hens laid eggs that cracked under their own weight, spilling something green and black. I kicked them out of my way, walking down the street to collect clean snow for boiling. God, I was so low. I stumbled every time I saw those bloated, horned bodies lumbering between the houses, and there was nothing I could do about it. Then the people came back. They came back bringing mold and soil and the wet sand from the cemetery path, flesh pulling back from bone, skin the color of ash, eyes that pointed forward but required effort to keep from rolling back. They tried to speak with their soft tongues. They waved, trying to communicate. Did it work? We didn't know if they could attack. We didn't know if they were dangerous. We only knew this couldn't go on. 14 of us were left in the village, out of what had once been several hundred. We took over a few houses together, kept watch, searched for food and a way out. We found one. I feel a little sorry for them. Genuinely sorry. Enough to feel it, not enough to do anything about it. What would I even do? Since you left, this place has become impossible. Living here has become even harder than that. And harder still, the night you knocked on our window with your three-fingered hand, staring at nothing with your gray, unblinking eye. Slaughterhouse in the morgue. My buddy Alex was in his third year of medical school. He worked at the morgue on the side, as an orderly or a night guard, something like that. He was planning to become a pathologist. Strange career choice, but he was one of the most cheerful, sociable guys I knew. One night, he invited me to come see where he worked. A tour, he said. I was curious. I'd never been inside a morgue, and here was my chance. I'd just bought a new laptop and wanted to celebrate. I got off at the right bus stop, ducked into a store for beer and snacks, and headed over. The morgue was a strange place, either temporary or hastily converted from something else. It sat on the edge of the city in a building that had seen better days, sharing the address with a medical supply shop, some kind of lab, and a couple of offices I couldn't identify. 2 stories, peeling paint, grime built up over years, sandwiched between rows of garages and industrial heating pipes. The whole block had a depressing weight to it. Alex was waiting at the entrance, smoking. When he spotted me, he grinned and waved. Hey, Lexi! Everyone's gone. It's 10 p.m. We've got the place until 6 a.m. The guy covering my shift, Marcus, he's a second year. He won't be here until morning. Let's drink. He looked genuinely happy to see me, and when he spotted the bags, he lit up completely. We went through a small entry hall, down a flight of steps, and past a heavy iron gate secured with a padlock. Alex locked it behind us and left the key in the lock. I looked at him. Marcus doesn't have a key, he said. That's how he'll know we're here. We'll be asleep by morning anyway. Cell service doesn't work down here. Only the landline, and that thing is unreliable. We went further in, underground, no windows, white tile walls, humming fluorescent lights, the smell of formaldehyde and something else medical and cold. The layout was shaped like the letter F. The short corridor off to one side held a small utility room and a bathroom. Straight ahead and left was a larger storage room. Straight ahead and right, at the far end, was the body hall. The storage room was where we planned to drink. We dropped the bags there and went to look at the cadavers first. I was nervous the whole way. There was no decay smell. Alex explained there was a specialized ventilation system. Still, the sight hit me hard. Rows of steel gurneys, each one occupied by someone who used to be a person. Old, young, all kinds. Glass specimen jars, surgical instruments, anatomical posters with skulls. Faces frozen in place. Eyes dull and still. Bodies locked into the positions they'd ended in. Some heads had fallen to the side, and the dead eyes seemed to look straight through you. Alex moved through the room like he owned it, casual and businesslike. "These two just came in today," he said, nodding at a pair of adjacent gurneys. A young man and a young woman, about the same age. "Get this, cops brought them in this afternoon. Some kids found them in the basement of an abandoned building they were exploring. Police show up and it's a whole scene. Lot of blood, a pig carcass with the head removed, burnt out candles, pentagrams drawn everywhere, and these two just lying there, both overdosed. Some kind of occultists or whatever." Alex pulled the sheet off the girl and gave her an appreciative once-over. "Not bad, right? You think you'd... Come on, man, seriously. Let's go drink, you psycho." The alcohol did its job quickly. Within an hour, we were loose and loud and happy, trading stories, cracking each other up. Alex is a great talker, one of the best. The morgue stopped feeling like a morgue and started feeling like a basement hangout. I don't know how much time had passed when I heard sounds in the corridor. Soft, wet, rhythmic, like something slapping tile, moving with a steady beat, then gradually fading as if walking away. I thought I'd imagined it, but then I saw Alex's face. He shook himself out of it. "Oh, Marcus must be early. Weird, it's way before morning." He waited a few minutes, poured another shot, then stuck his head into the corridor. "Marcus? Hey, you're early, man." The corridor echoed back at him. No Marcus. I got up and followed Alex out. He was standing in the hallway, staring at the body hall door. It was open. I was certain he'd pulled it shut earlier. Not bolted it with the heavy exterior latches, but at least closed it. "Marcus, why'd you open the door?" Alex's voice had an edge I didn't like. He approached the dark doorframe. Cold air moved out of it. Not just cool, but damp and deep, the way cold feels underground. The light switch was inside. When Alex turned it on, what we saw did not make sense. Someone was standing in the room. It looked like a person, but there was no person. There was only the woman from the gurney, the overdose victim, the occultist. She was standing naked, skin the yellow-blue color of something long past death, covered in livid bruising. She was leaning over one of the other bodies. She was eating its face. I felt my stomach contract. She was tearing skin with her teeth, sucking the eyes from their sockets and swallowing them with a wet, grinding sound. Then she pulled the jaw loose and began working on the tongue and throat. Fluid dripped from the gurney and spread across the tiles. Dark, thick, wrong. We stood there with our mouths open and could not move. Alex broke first.
"Hey, what are you doing? Hey!"
He moved toward her with actual purpose. The thing turned its face toward him. Twisted expression, yellow teeth packed with tissue, bleeding lacerations across the skin. From it came a wave of pure malice, something ancient and wrong. Fear moved through me in a way I'd never experienced, radiating out from somewhere deep in the chest.
Alex slipped on the tile and bolted back toward me. "Close the door! Close it now! Close the door!" We slammed the heavy iron door and threw the exterior bolts. Immediately, it began shaking from the inside. Massive impacts, screeching metal, sounds that did not come from any human throat. Alex looked at me with wild eyes. She was in a coma. That's it. She wasn't dead. They thought she was, brought her in by mistake. Addicts on stimulants. They're unbelievably strong. 3 guys couldn't hold her down. We call the cops right now. Let them deal with it. The landline gave nothing but static and noise. Our phones had no signal underground. To get out, we'd have to go back to the stairs and the iron gate and get to the street from there. That was when we found the second problem. The key was gone from the padlock. The gate was locked, and the key had been removed from the inside. We stood there like we'd been hit. "The second one," Alex said, and I heard the control leaving his voice. "Did you notice the second body from the satanic scene wasn't on the gurney? It's not there. It's somewhere in here, either the bathroom or the small utility room. And it has the key." On the wall, a fire safety cabinet. I grabbed the iron hook. Alex took the hatchet. Sharpened, it turned out. "Lexi, we take him down. All the way down. We can't restrain him. These people are unreal when they're on stimulants, and he'll kill us if we try. We end it." Jaw clenched, hands shaking, we moved out. Small utility room. Empty. We both exhaled. Bathroom. Light switch was outside. Alex flipped it. He was in the corner, sitting completely still, staring at the wall, holding the key. The same yellow-blue skin, shrunken and wrong. Terrifying to look at. "Hey." Alex moved toward him carefully. "Give me the key." The thing looked at him and put the key in its mouth and swallowed it. Then it stood up and came at Alex, face blank and destroyed, arms reaching out. Alex cleared the doorway. "Do it!" I froze. Alex grabbed the hook out of my hands and drove it into the thing's chest. It went down. "Hold it down!" I grabbed the hook and held on while Alex worked with the hatchet. Blood everywhere. The white tile turned red. Alex was not in control of himself anymore. He kept swinging long after he needed to. The sounds in the room were not the kinds of sounds I want to write down. He only stopped when there was nothing left that could be described as a body. He sat on the floor, breathing hard, covered in blood, and for a moment, neither of us said anything. Then the head opened its eyes. Black eyes, bloody, looking at us with something behind them that should not have been there. "You will die," the mouth said. "You will both die. You will never leave this place. This is your grave." Alex grabbed the hatchet and used the flat of it until the skull was gone. Retrieving the key took another half hour and all the composure we had left. When it was over, we looked at each other and didn't speak. Alex unlocked the gate. We went up. He stopped me at the top. "Listen, if we call the police right now, there are going to be questions we can't answer. This wasn't a living person. A head doesn't talk after it's been removed. This is something else. Occultists, possession, black magic, I don't know. The bodies are in the records as deceased. We can move them, take them out to the woods, burn everything. I'll clean the paperwork," I agreed. We went back down. We handled the second one the same way. We spent 2 hours collecting pieces and scrubbing tile and loading what was left into a rusted iron drum. Then, we treated our cuts, put on bandages, and I went home without waiting for the morning shift. For a while, I lived in a fog. Alex and I met up a few times, drank more than we should have, trying to put distance between ourselves and what had happened in that basement. Then, I went abroad for 6 months on a student exchange. When I came back, I found out that 3 months after that night, Alex had died. Blood poisoning, the doctor said. Cause unknown. Boiled meat. I had what you might call a troubled childhood. My mother watched my every move. Any deviation from what she considered normal sent her into a panic. It started before I was born, actually. I came early, and she never really recovered from the fear of it. I didn't play with other children. I drew shapeless, deformed figures instead of the mommy and daddy portraits other kids made. For one holiday, I gave my mother a dead sparrow whose legs I had been pulling off with matchsticks. I also, for reasons no one could explain, absolutely refused to eat boiled food. Anything cooked in water, meat, soups, porridge, triggered what could only be called a fit. This put me on a list of children at risk for early onset schizophrenia. The doctors prescribed a regimen, scheduled outdoor time, simple toys, illustrated books with large print. People spoke to me carefully, the way you speak to a dog that bites. My mother overdid it. I can still picture her eyes bulging with effort, her mouth forming each syllable as if I were something less than functional. Eventually, the illness was defeated, meaning it was suppressed, and I went to a normal school like everyone else, and my parents relaxed. For 8 years, I lived an ordinary life with ordinary problems. I remember the day we moved with perfect clarity. My little sister had been born, and my grandmother had come to help look after her, which meant we needed a bigger place. Gray high-rise, smell of mildew in the stairwell, broken equipment in the courtyard. But the apartment itself was decent, and there was finally enough space. After we'd carried in the last box, I went to wash my hands. The bathroom looked neglected, despite the otherwise renovated apartment. Dirty tiles, rust stains, a grimy tub. I turned the tap on full and immediately screamed. Scalding water, actual boiling water. My hand came back red and blistered. I laughed about it afterward, threatened to pop the blister with a needle while my mother looked away in disgust. I mentioned it to my father. Might be worth looking into the pipes. But after that first time, the water temperature was always normal. The first night in the new apartment, I woke up needing the bathroom. I walked down the dark hallway barefoot, but stopped outside the bathroom door. It was slightly open, and something was coming from inside that smelled like food. Without thinking, I reached for the light and stepped in. The tub was full to the rim with oily water. Slicks of fat floated on the surface, catching the light. I leaned over to look and turned my head to the right. We looked at each other. The woman's eyes were white and convex, like 2 hard-boiled eggs. Her skin was colorless and coated in a film. The scalp had partially separated from the skull, and where the bone showed, blood was bubbling. I couldn't scream. My throat had swollen shut, and the only sound I could produce was a thin, humiliating whine. The thing opened its swollen lips and made the exact same sound back at me. I lurched backward, slammed the door, and locked myself in my room. I was shaking so badly I couldn't tell what was fear and what was revulsion, and what was the pure animal wrongness of what I'd seen. I didn't wake anyone. What would I have said? I was terrified that if I fell asleep, it would drag itself out of the tub, crawl on its softened limbs down the hallway, and when I opened my eyes, those dead white eyes would be above me.
I passed out near dawn anyway. When I woke, I went straight to the bathroom. Daylight has a way of making you feel braver. The tub was empty. No water, no grease marks. My mother yelled at me for the noise I'd made during the night. I lied and said I'd walked into the door in the dark. I think what unsettled me most was the absurdity of it. The feeling you get watching a dog with a crushed head convulsing at the roadside. Whatever that thing in the bathtub was, it seemed helpless, and that made it worse somehow. Given my history, I was afraid to mention it to anyone. I was not going back to a clinic. And practically speaking, what were my options? Refuse to wash? Call a priest? I believed in priests even less than I believed in what I'd seen. Several nights passed without incident. I walked past the bathroom door a couple of times in the dark. Nothing. No smell, no sound. I convinced myself that whatever it was, as long as I stayed out of that room, it would leave me alone. Which is why, when I looked up from dinner and saw the wet, naked corpse standing in the kitchen doorway with its skin hanging in strips, I choked on my food and couldn't breathe for a full minute. It was not like a ghost, not translucent, not vague. It stood there as solid and present as anything in the room. No hair anywhere on its body, bare scalp, bare skin, bare legs, which made the bleached skin look even more artificial, like the skin of a beluga. Below the knees and elbows there was no flesh, only exposed bone with skin dangling in coiled strips. The hands and feet were partially intact. And the smell. It smelled like meat broth with spices, like boiled meat. I started laughing even as I retched, because my empty stomach was growling at the smell. My family gave me sedatives and called the doctor. My mother's look at my father communicated everything without words. It's starting again. I was unable to explain myself. There is a particular cruelty in being confronted by something that refuses to fit into any category. Something that takes away your ability to make a calm decision, pick up the phone, ask someone for help. You just sit there, broken, staring. I was ashamed of my fear, but the fear didn't go away. I saw her again the following morning, lying calmly in the tub. Her half-skeletal arm rose from the water and pressed soft fingers to the wall, as if trying to write something. But the fingers just bent, and then the flesh slid off them, and thin white bones were all that remained. Fingernails floated in the water like nail clippings. I vomited outside the bathroom door. Hello again, childhood. I couldn't eat boiled food anymore. Boiled chicken made me physically ill, that pale, pimpled skin covered in slime. If you pull boiled meat apart into fibers, it looks exactly like skin separating in strips. The smell of broth followed me everywhere. At night, I felt as though I were being boiled alive, not all at once, but incrementally. A hot, heavy pressure that moved from my arm to my stomach to my legs, like burning metal pressed against different parts of me. I would lie there, afraid to look at my own hands. The bathroom was right on the other side of my wall. I knew she was there, and I knew that if she wanted to, she could drag herself to me anywhere in the apartment, leaving a trail of whatever was left of her legs. I stayed in bed for 5 days. My grandmother kept coming in with her herbal remedies and her explanations. She said something had attached itself to me. Terror, she called it. It picks you for its own reasons and rides you until you deal with it. She said I was susceptible because of the way I'd been raised, kept in a risk zone, sensitive to things others couldn't perceive. And terror wasn't external, she said. It was part of you. The walls of your room won't help. The dead don't mourn their interrupted lives. For them, life is still continuing, and they fill the empty spaces they find. I asked my father to find out about the previous tenant, who had lived here before us. Had anything happened, even just neighbors would know. The people who sold us the apartment wouldn't say a word. My father went quiet for a while, then got up and left without asking me a single question. That was how we found out. Her name was Marina. She was 26. She had lived here with a small boy. We share a name, actually. He was also Vlad. He would have been. She had left her husband, a repeat offender who had found religion after his second sentence. Some sect had gotten its hooks in him. Neighbors said he used to come here regularly, tried to break down the door, and when he couldn't, would stand outside shouting about her until she opened up in tears so no one would hear. He beat her. The neighbors knew that too. Then his grip on reality loosened completely, and Marina apparently threatened to go to the police. According to what the neighbors pieced together, he scalded her first, threw boiling water from a kettle into her face. Then he locked her in the bathroom, filled every pot he could find on the stove, and began pouring boiling water over her in the tub, over and over, until the water in the tub itself was scalding. Marina was still alive through most of it. The neighbors heard only the man's drunken shouting, something about sinners and boiling pitch. No one intervened. In the adjacent room, my room now, a 3-year-old boy cried for an hour straight. When police broke through the door, Marina survived for a few minutes. The belt of her robe had been wound around her throat. When they tried to remove it, it came away with the skin. They could not touch her. Her clothing had to be peeled off with the skin beneath it. The people who lifted her body out of the tub did it in gloves.